Reddit users have opened up about some of the most unforgettable and haunting experiences etched into their memories. These stories, ranging from tragic accidents to unsettling discoveries, offer a glimpse into moments that have left lasting impressions. At 16, one individual witnessed a harrowing scene on their parents' property. A man under the influence trespassed and attempted to flee when authorities were alerted. Failing to navigate a turn onto a bridge, his vehicle overturned into a creek. The impact broke his neck. Despite efforts from bystanders, the muddy waters made rescue challenging. By the time emergency services arrived, the man had succumbed. The image of his lifeless body remains vivid in the witness's mind. Adding to the trauma, the deceased's family pursued legal action against the property owners, alleging negligence. However, the court ruled in favor of the homeowners, recognizing the man's impaired state and unauthorized presence. A somber tale recounts a childhood incident where a young boy, playing with his father's shotgun, accidentally shot a peer. The victim's head injuries were fatal, leaving an indelible mark on those present. In another account, a teenager accidentally discharged a hunting rifle, fatally wounding his younger brother. Despite familial opposition, he faced manslaughter charges and was tried as an adult. The incident underscores the profound consequences of mishandling firearms. While learning to drive, a young individual noticed a white van trailing them through their neighborhood. After the van parked in their driveway, the individual alone at home retrieved a shotgun and confronted the situation. The van promptly reversed and departed. The experience left the individual shaken, prompting a prolonged period of vigilance. During a childhood bike ride, a boy ventured off-trail and stumbled upon a rusted car in the woods. Inside, he discovered skeletal remains. Authorities later identified the deceased as a man missing since the 1950s. The boy's discovery provided closure to a decades-old mystery, earning him community recognition. One individual recounted the experience of handling their mother's body post-mortem until emergency services arrived. The tactile memory of her cold skin occasionally resurfaces during colder months, triggering emotional responses. Similarly, another person described the prolonged wait beside their father's body in a hospital room, observing the gradual changes. Post-death, the experience remains a haunting memory. While swimming in Lake Erie, a family encountered a submerged body. The stepfather, realizing the situation, shielded his young son from the sight while retrieving the deceased child. The victims' family arrived shortly after, leading to a scene of profound grief. Despite the stepfather's heroic actions, official reports credited lifeguards with the recovery. Growing up in a funeral home, one individual became accustomed to the presence of the deceased. Daily life included encounters with bodies awaiting embalming. While the experience was normalized over time, the arrival of familiar faces among the deceased proved emotionally challenging. In primary school, a student witnessed a classmate being struck by an arriving bus after chasing a ball into the street. The traumatic event left a lasting impression, with the bus driver displaying compassion by staying with the victim until help arrived. A train operator shared experiences of individuals jumping in front of trains. The aftermath of such incidents, including the visual and emotional impact, is profound. The operator emphasized the lasting psychological effects of these tragedies. During a tennis tournament, a player collapsed mid-serve. Despite immediate CPR efforts, the individual could not be revived. The event served as a stark reminder of life's fragility for those present. At the age of 10, one person experienced an armed robbery near their home, leading to heightened security measures. Another individual, also 10, pretended to sleep during a home robbery, a tactic that possibly ensured their safety. These accounts, shared by Reddit users, highlight the unexpected and often traumatic events that individuals can encounter. They serve as poignant reminders of life's unpredictability and the resilience of those who endure such experiences. This wasn't my residence, it was my neighbor's 2 doors down. My friend's father lived there and I was visiting her. We were playing in the garden, away from the house, when 2 men forced open the back gate. My friend and I hid silently in the shed, watching through the window. They carried a large firearm, entered the house, and drew the curtains. We heard shouting, breaking sounds, then silence. They exited with a bag and drove off. My friend was distraught, fearing for her father's safety. I cautiously approached the house, found the kitchen door open, and discovered her father bound with plastic ties, his shirt over his head, lying in a pool of blood. He had been assaulted with a gun and a broken bottle. I freed him, helped him up, then fetched my mother to call the police. That evening, I provided a witness statement. He was involved in minor drug dealings and likely crossed paths with dangerous individuals. One day, my neighbor didn't collect his child from school. Concerned, I entered his home and found him unconscious in the basement, unclothed. He was alive but unable to speak or move, indicating severe brain damage. Later, I learned he suffered a brain aneurysm during a private moment. Recovery was improbable. Such conditions often lead to permanent impairment or death. My own father passed away from a brain aneurysm while exercising. Unfortunately, my neighbor did not survive. At 10, during a period when my father was unemployed, a classmate mocked me for our financial struggles, calling me names and criticizing my attire. After school, I confronted him and struck him, causing a nosebleed and eye redness. He cried out, claiming he couldn't see. I was overwhelmed with guilt, feeling monstrous. Thankfully, he recovered after a few minutes. In 1st grade, a friend was tragically murdered near our school. A week later, while exploring the woods, my friends and I found a bloodied knife. One of us brought it back to school. Fortunately, the perpetrator had already been apprehended, so we didn't compromise the investigation. This incident made the reality of the murder sink in and taught us to be more cautious. I witnessed the immediate aftermath of a child being run over by a school bus adjacent to mine. It was a cold morning. Steam rose from the body and a spilled lunchbox lay nearby. This led to the implementation of sweeper bars on buses to ensure children cross at a visible distance ahead of the bus. As a parent now, such memories are haunting. I saw the consequences of a car bomb detonated on a crowded street, resulting in the deaths of several civilians, including children. The sight of burned bodies, especially children, remains one of the most harrowing experiences I've endured. Even after witnessing numerous atrocities, this particular event deeply affected me. Working overnight at an emergency veterinary clinic, I encountered a distraught elderly woman who rushed in with a towel-wrapped bleeding kitten. Upon unwrapping, we found the kitten had been cleanly severed in half. We calmed her and later learned her intoxicated husband had killed the kitten and assaulted her. He was charged and incarcerated. We cremated the kitten at no cost, provided a beautiful urn, and delivered the ashes to her. She now regularly sends baked goods to our clinic in gratitude. At 12, my husband was playing at a friend's house where they accessed the father's shotgun. Believing it unloaded, they mimicked shooting each other. When my husband pointed it at a 5-year-old sibling and pulled the trigger, the child was fatally shot. Now 36, my husband still carries the guilt. Despite the negligence of leaving loaded firearms accessible to children, he now educates youth on gun safety to prevent similar tragedies. In high school, my friends and I would climb onto the school's roof at night. One evening we brought along 2 girls we liked. While exploring, I sat on what appeared to be a solid spot, which turned out to be a skylight. I fell through, losing consciousness. My friend found me unresponsive and emergency services were called. I awoke 2 days later with injuries. Tragically, the girl I was with died instantly. Her mother visited me often, but I struggled to face her. Driving to a funeral in December with my sister, we encountered a severe accident on a slick highway. A jeep had crashed, and a young man was ejected, partially covered by a blood-soaked sheet. We witnessed his father arrive, sprinting across the highway, only to be stopped by police as he broke down in anguish. Continuing our drive, we saw the boy's new green sneakers in the road. Accidentally running over one added to the heartbreak. He was only 16. While working as a nanny, I took the children to Bethesda Pool. The older girl noticed something at the bottom. It was a young boy, curled up and unresponsive. I pulled him out, performed CPR, and called for help. Despite lifeguards being present, they hadn't noticed him. Fortunately, he survived. The incident left a lasting impression, highlighting the importance of vigilance. In high school, I worked at an ice cream shop. One winter night, while taking out the trash, I encountered a man in the parking lot with a menacing expression. I retreated inside, locked the doors, and continued working. Later, I saw him staring through the window with a sinister smile. My manager and I hid until the police arrived. Weeks later, he was arrested for assaulting and murdering a woman resembling me.